Check, check, check. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Warren High School for this WPSL Northeastern Conference matchup and the inaugural home opener for Inter-Connecticut FC as they welcome in Sporting Connecticut. Let's meet the starting lineups for this evening's matchup. First, for visiting Sporting Connecticut in the teal jerseys. In goal, number 0, Caitlin Daly. In the field, number 2, Julia Sally. Number 6, Christina Stone. Number 8, Tiffany Weimer. Number 9, Shay Boyle. Number 20, Lady Smith. Number 21, Kylie Carlos. Number 46, Taya Gambardella. Number 67, Giovanna Dionizio. Number 77, Aubrey Copa. And number 81, Brenna Brown. And now the starting lineup for Inter-Connecticut FC. In goal, wearing 13, Christina Dynison. In the field, wearing number 3, Darren Dixon. Number 4, Elise Smith. Number 7, Sarah Campbell. Number 8, Sophia Bidjeni. Number 20, Megan Sirowich. Number 18, Lily Simpson. Number 20, Kiri George. Number 21, Mia Schaefer. Number 23, Skylar George. And number 29, Ella Peterson. Those are your starting lineups for this evening. Now we ask you at this time, if you are able to, please rise and kindly remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem. Mark.
And a pleasant good evening, everybody. You're watching a presentation of WPSL Soccer here on the Inter-Connecticut YouTube page as well as WPSL TV. This is the first ever home game for Inter-Connecticut as over this past weekend they traveled up to Middletown, Connecticut to take on Vale SC. They lost that game by a narrow 2-1 margin. Tonight, the challenge is different, albeit a team from the same town. This time it's Sporting Connecticut, who are the defending national champions in WPSL play. Last year they won this conference with a 9-0-1 record. Just realized that we have the clock running, so we got to stop that. Hang on a second. We will be right back with you in just a moment. And we apologize for that. Once again, welcome everybody here. Just had to step off commentary for a second to reset the scoreboard. JJ Duke here with you from Milford, Connecticut, as we're just moments away here from opening kickoff between Sporting and Inter. And Sporting coming into this one, the defending champions in WPSL by virtue of a 9-0-1 record last year going through the national tournament. Meanwhile, for Inter Connecticut, this is their first ever season in pre-professional soccer. And they had a challenging contest to begin the season against Vale, who did already play a game. That was against Sporting on Tuesday. They lost that one 5-1, but Inter Connecticut were able to get themselves into that contest. As the match grew on, they got a goal late on from Liz Constante. As we're just about ready to go here, it'll be Sporting to get us underway. Ironically enough, they're wearing the teal jerseys. It is Inter who are wearing the black jerseys. Sporting actually matching the jersey color of the majority of the people that are in here in the stands tonight, as our referee just going over, making sure that we're all set, ready to go. As we are underway here, we'll give you the starting lineups just now as immediately ball played down into the channel, and it will be Inter to get in possession. Here are their starters. Christina Dynison in goal, wearing 13, numerically in the field. Darren Dixon wears 3. Elise Smith wears 4. Sarah Campbell wears the number 7 jersey. Sophia Bidjeni wearing 8. Megan Sirwich, 12. Lily Simpson wears 18. Carrie George, one of the 2 sisters on the squad, wears 20. Her sister Skylar wears 23. Mia Schaefer wears 21, and Ella Peterson wears the number 29 jersey. Only just a handful of changes from the team that Inter Connecticut put out in their first game of the season. The starting 11 for Stephen Bell is pretty much the same, just a couple of changes in terms of depth on the bench, as this will go all the way back to Peterson and goes home to Dynison. Meanwhile, for Sporting Connecticut, a handful of changes from that 5-1 victory against Vale just a little over a week ago. Caitlin Daly remains in between the post. Julia Sally in the midfield today wearing 2. Christina Stone retains her spot wearing 6. Tiff Weimer up front wearing 8. Shea Boyle on the back 9. Lainey Smith 20. Kylie Carlos, one of the top defenders in the country in this league a season ago. As this ball played in, Dynason's safe hands to hold on to that one. Tea Gambardella getting the start wearing 46. Giovanni Dionizio, who had a goal off of a set piece last week, she wears 67. Aubrey Culper up front, 77. And then the change with Brenna Brown coming into the starting 11 after coming off the bench last week. She wears the 81 jersey. This field is a little bit narrow in coming here yesterday for the first time. Ironically enough, both myself and Matt Bodie, our producer and camera operator, live in the state but have never been here before. My school out of the FCAC, so we never played in SCC. But it's narrow, albeit the length exactly what you want. So expect a little bit more of direct play between the two teams as Bidjeni, the Iona product, will go back home with Kiri George. And again, a direct ball that into the channel looking for Sarah Campbell, but will be out for a throw. And Sporting will look to build out of the back. For a team that's not, or for those who are not familiar with Sporting, they're a team that likes to build. They'll possess through all the channels and all the phases. But we saw a little bit on Tuesday that they were open to play direct. As you see there, that ball hit into the channel looking for Brenna Brown, player that applied her college trade at Fairfield, as that shot just goes wide of the mark. Brown operating on the wing this evening. The 2017 grad for Fairfield with 18 goals in her career, but has been a veteran at this level for a number of seasons. It was Campbell, the Framingham State product, knocking that out wide, looking for Dixon, but Christina Stone does ever so well to guide that back safely to Dionizio, the Dominican Republic international. Into the channel now for Weimer. Weimer scooping it around one defender, but Elise Smith able to clear lines. Smith, who will attend the University of Bridgeport in the fall. Player who played her high school ball at Massac, not too far away up in Monroe. And now Darren Dixon, former Notre Dame of Fairfield standout, but a good tackle by Brown and company wins it back. Now here's Weimer. Kolpa into the channel with Patterson with her. Defended well, but it will be the first corner of the match to come here for the visitors inside the game's first 5 minutes. Yeah, Kolpa is certainly going to be a handful. The Penn State Nittany line, who had a fabulous sophomore season with 8 goals and 16 assists over 15 matches, so basically good for a goal contribution every game. Someone that was threatening all throughout the match against Vail, just did not find the back of the net. Ironically enough, it was her shot that rattled off the crossbar, as this one goes into the side netting from Weimer, out for a goal kick. Crashed off the underside of the crossbar, and Lainey Smith was the one to tap it home from close distance. The Kolpa had about 5 shot attempts over the course of the time that she was on the field. Also, for those unfamiliar in WPSL, it is roll-on, roll-off subs. So, unlike, say, in the men's side in the NPSL or USL League 2, it's going to be one of those where you can take players off, and especially on a warm evening like it is here in the 80s in Milford, not too far away from the Connecticut coastline. You're going to see players be used pretty liberally in terms of coming on and coming off. As it comes to Carlos here on this near side, loving the drum line that we have here. And it's the first ever inter-Connecticut home match. Into the channel, but the flag is up on Kolpa. So I spoke with Stephen Bell, the head coach of Inter-Connecticut, yesterday, and he said that the first half was really a learning curve on the weekend against Vail. It was one where the team really needed some time, not only to gel. He said the team has had less than a half dozen training sessions together. Number of younger players and experienced players in the group, but said as the game went on, the shape was a little bit better. They were able to find some flow, and as the season goes on, and really when you go into pre-professional soccer, a short 10-game, or in this case, 8-game regular season, you're hoping just to put points on the board in the month of May, get everything fluid, so once you get into June, then you really have your system. As once again the flag comes up here, this will be offside on Weimer. Has already Inter playing a really brave high line against this Sporting team, forcing them on this narrow surface to play through the 3 phases. That'll be a free kick now for the hosts. Patterson to serve this forward. Ball knocked down into space. A good crunching tackle from Megan Sierwich. Now a chance here for the host. That ball intended for Campbell, but Carlos will go back home. As Inter going with a 4-3-3, a pretty flat 4-3-3 across. Dropping in a little bit is Bujeni. As Daly, who's a graduate of the University of New Haven, will go back with Carlos. Both goalkeepers for Sporting in their previous game came up with magnificent saves on Elena Taylor from Vail. Daly's actually at a time when the game was still just 1-0, where Weimer scored off of a free kick just a couple of minutes into the match. And if she doesn't come up with that save, it's probably a much different game. I feel in Vail with that 5-1 scoreline for them really not flattering to their performance on the evening. They created, I'd say, about 9 good scoring chances over the course of the match. And with some last-ditch defending and some good goalkeeping, and probably a little bit of some rust for experienced players or for the college players who only had been playing their spring season. So for those, again, unfamiliar with the college landscape, when it's not the fall season, it's kind of an exhibition season. You get X amount of hours over the week to train together and then a couple of matches on the weekend. So the ring rust definitely there. As Stone, one of the Elder States players on this Sporting Connecticut roster, will go back with Shea Boyle. That's a dangerous switch here to this near side, but we'll find safe haven with Gambardella, the Villanova product. Sporting trying to break through this wall that Inter have put together. And it's going to take some time for this match for both of these teams. Again, with the heat for one, the narrow field for the other, to try and figure out the best way to break through. This will be a throw here for Inter as Elise Smith will take it. That one wasted into touch, and it'll be a throw for the visitors as Skylar George not able to keep it on. And so if you're willing to have a brave high line defensively, and if you can hold that line together, then you could really frustrate your opponents. But watching this trio of Weimer, Kolpa, and Brown maneuver with Lainey Smith just sitting a little bit underneath, you have to make sure that the communication is there, otherwise you're going to get beat with something over the top. As here is Smith, looking for that big diagonal. It is a good one for Kolpa, who has stayed on side, but Dynaston off of her line to take it. Something also fun to note as well, this match featuring a couple of players who have featured in Champions League and European competitions. Weimer, a number of seasons overseas, in addition to playing in the NWSL and WPS, but also Dynaston, who's played overseas for a number of years in Sweden and most recently in Finland. So bringing that international flavor to this game. As this ball into a channel, Weimer has stayed on side. Weimer with the lob, but there is Dynaston with the take. Well, there's our first moment of the match here, 10 minutes in. Cheeky little lob over the top, but again, the experienced Dynaston was able to take it. But again, the flag has stayed down here for Weimer, and another save from Dynaston. Well, that's twice in the last 20 seconds that Christina has been called upon to make a save. And this might be just one of those here on a night like tonight where you want to play and build out of the back, but to give your defense a chance to reset the shape just to go long. As I say, that interplay short. And this will go home now to Shea Boyle. Boyle, the Seton Hall product, who will now be playing at UConn coming up in the fall. Smith now. A couple of wasteful passes, it has to be said, from Inter, from their own defensive third. Strong tackle from Gambardella. Or excuse me, that's Julia Sally, my apologies. And the referee's going to bring this back here for a foul. We'll take a look at the last couple of chances here. This was the one from Weimer, a ball over the top. Spotted the keeper, just the ball would not settle for her. And it was a nice take, it had to be said. It's one of those, again, you know, if you're going to be brave with that high line of a back four, keeper playing way off of your line, you're going to be susceptible for the lob. But Christina knew where she was, and, yeah, Weimer just didn't get enough power to it. Now, in addition here with Bluegill Productions, working with Inter Connecticut, we also work with Sporting Connecticut, and we joke with Tiffany after the match saying, well, you know, scored 5 on the night, but the amount of chances that the team created over those 90 minutes last week certainly could have been a lot more. And she said, yeah, you know, it's coming. But then again, when you have 3 goal contributions on the night, 2 goals and an assist, you've done your job. This team with Sporting last season, how balanced they were as a scoring group, Had 14 different players find the back of the net over the course of both the regular and the postseason. Number of players that were on that squad one season ago now playing professionally overseas. There's a chance here for Skylar George, trying to look for an option. Mia Schaefer pinging it to the back post, and it just goes wide. Well, the first maybe half a chance for the hosts coming inside of a quarter hour, but that was one that was not all that far off. Certainly had Daly questioning. Take a look at this here. Yeah, again, one of those, you hit it into space and you see what happens. And chances like that are going to be created over the course of this match. It just depends on, you know, how ruthless can you be when you get it. Is this a foul right in front of us? A free kick now for the visitors. This season in WPSL Northeastern Conference, there are 8 teams. So you're going to play everybody once, either home or away, and then a regional opponent for a second time. So that's where we get the 8 regular season matchups as opposed to 10 in previous years. As we go throughout the course of this match, we'll look ahead to what is to come. This is the first of 4 at home for Inter Connecticut. Dynaston getting some decent length off of that clearance. This will be a foul as Schaefer goes down. The former Southern Connecticut State defender started her collegiate career at Muhlenberg. 2021 was her final season when she transferred over to the Owls. Absorbing the foul, and this will allow Peterson to launch it forward. Smith going home with Carlos. A veteran at this level for many, many years. Kylie, the one-time Marist, then college all-conference representative. Number of times has been either UWS or WPSL all-conference, all-region, or national defender player of the year. Back when the Sporting Connecticut team went down to Oklahoma and won the national title, they did so in convincing fashion. Knocked off St. Croix Legacy by 4-1, and then defeated California Storm, who are the defending national champions and a long-time stalwart of the WPSL, 4-0 in the final. And Carlos was the most outstanding defensive player of the tournament. As this ball launched over the top for Brown, the flag has stayed down here for Weimer. Now it comes up. Still a really decent save, it has to be said. All for naught, it does look like the hosts are preparing a trio of changes. Again, roll-on, roll-off subs, so you will see Jenna Peduzzi come on, as well as Danny Buta, and the number 19, that's Liz Constante. Those changes coming in just past a quarter hour gone. Again, we'll probably expect to have hydration breaks over the course of this evening's match. Constante, the one with the goal, late on to make it a game with just under 10 minutes to go. Those will be playing at Post, a Division II program up at Waterbury in the fall. Ecuadorian under-17 call-up. Ball forward from Skylar George, blocked, but just battered forward by Kiri George, and it goes back to Daly. Caitlin had a very busy season last fall, it had to be said, for the University of New Haven as they moved up from the Division II to the Division I ranks. But despite the 3.1 goals against, had a 75 save percentage and registered double-digit saves in 5 matches last year. Certainly coaches took notice of her, and probably for her work that she's done with this sporting club now in a couple of seasons. We'll be playing at Providence in the fall. Arguably one of the more talented shot stoppers that we have at the level. Ball out into the channel, taken down well. Chance here for the host to play out wide through Lily Simpson. And a nice turn from Constante. A bit of the body there from Boyle, but a fair enough tackle in the eyes of the referee. And well intercepted by Schaefer, who again just punts it long, looking for Danny Boutin, who is very familiar, of course, with this facility. Danny playing her high school games here with 4 and a Class M state champion. Chance now for the hosts. That's a nice little turn as well, but coming out is Daly. That was in front of Jenna Peduzzi. That's a pair of Chargers going against each other. Peduzzi, the graduate of a couple of seasons ago. Played 51 games for the Chargers. That was then all at the Division II level. With 9 goals and 4 assists during her time under Laura Duncan. As this ball again into a channel. Cleared, but not cleared enough. As Stone will link up with Brown. Kolpa making a delayed run into the box. The flag has stayed down, and it's a lovely finish. And Sporting Connecticut are in front. The goal in the first of the season for Aubrey Kolpa. And just a really well-taken finish. Little 1-2 between her and Brenna Brown, and that's just finishing practice there for the Penn State Nittany Lion. And after generating a couple of chances in the first 10 minutes or so and forcing a pair of saves from Dynaston in goal, that time it was just pure clinical. Goal scorer for Sporting Connecticut in the 19th minute is number 77, Aubrey Kolpa. Now all to play here for the hosts as Carlos just shrugs off the challenge of Peduzzi, but that ball actually did go into touch. So this will be really interesting to hear to see if Inter, utilizing this facility, do they have a bit of a long throw-in? And Sporting defended rather comfortably, and they'll knock it back towards Peterson, who in turn powers it forward, but Gambardella with the clear. Sally trying to knock it out wide in the direction of Weimer. Now Schaefer forward. That's just good defending there from Boyle, and you could see the comfort that the Sporting team has in defending and covering them all of last season. It's not one that you saw them do all that often last season. Teams started to figure them out over the course of that 2025 campaign, but they relished the chance to defend. They relish a chance to go forward as well, as this is going to be a goal kick. It looked like Kolpa was going to go and grab the ball for a second there, but instead it is going to just be a goal kick for the hosts. And 21st minute of action, goal scored in the 19th from Aubrey Kolpa. And you can see again Boyle just happily turning away from pressure to go home. One thing that you could say about the Sporting team is, again, the flag comes up, but it'll go back to Dynaston we play on. This is a team that, while this is only their second season in WPSL, they've been together for a number of seasons. Played in UWS for a couple of years. First year in the 2023 season, where they got all the way to the national semifinals of that competition. The majority of the team also played together a couple of years prior to that with the Connecticut Fusion, another UWS team that reached the national championship game. Brought a large core of that team over to this squad. A number of players that were in that team no longer with the club because of the fact that they're playing professionally, mostly overseas. Most recently, Imani Jenkins and Kara Jordan plying their trade in Europe. Jordan currently playing in Ireland, and Imani Jenkins in Norway. And those two players were regular standouts and garnering all league accolades. As Peduzzi trying to play it down this channel, looking for the run of Boutin. Boyle once again, well defended. Now a chance here for the visitors to break as Lainey Smith gets upended by Bujeni. And a quickly taken free kick, but the flag is up. Ooh, I'll tell you what, it actually looked like Brenna Brown might have beaten the offside trap. See this one back here. She was ahead, but not all by that much. It does help with the American football lines that we have here, that we can tell exactly where that offside line was, and might have been a half yard or less. Weimer has stayed on side here, but just a little bit too far. Well, they are getting closer now, this Sporting team, to figuring out this offside trap. Ball played into touch. Again, thank you so much for spending your evening here with us from Milford, Connecticut, wherever you're watching, either WPSL TV or on the Bluegill Productions, or excuse me, the Inter-Connecticut YouTube channel. Sorry, folks. Many, many platforms. And we have to remind ourselves where we're on as Kolpa gets it around, and this will be a free kick as Peterson knocks her down, but appreciation to Bluegill Productions in putting this show together on this what looked to be for a moment a tricky evening, because we had a line of storms that were coming through. Fortunately, just turned out to be rain and just a light shower, which does break the heat a little bit. It will be a free kick and taken quickly by Smith into an area. That ball bundled around, but this one actually hit Brown on the way through on the hand, and it'll be coming out for a free kick. Well, this might be one of those here for Inter now. It's been a few times that Sporting have tried to play quickly off the set pieces. Try to get back, or if nothing else, maybe delay the restarts a little bit. We don't condone those time-wasting tactics, but it's been a few times where there's been bodies not getting back. Is Smith able to get around Peterson? Laney trying to slot it through, but it's tackled away well. Manella will just clear forward now. A chance here for the host to try and get ahead as Skylar George not able to take it down. And Daly will just knock it wide to Dionizio, but a really well-timed tackle from Constante. It'll be a throw for the host on the opposite side of the field. Taylor got second, getting ready to check in for Inter-Connecticut in just a couple of moments. Now Weimer looking for the run of Kolpa, and it's a great ball to send Aubrey through. Already on one goal tonight, but a better save. That is outstanding from Christina Dynison. She waited for Kolpa to make her move, and then a strong hand to parry it over the bar. It's a beautiful weight of that ball from Weimer. And you can see again how aggressive Christina was coming off of her line. But another set piece to come here in the 27th minute. 26th minute of action. Pair of changes now getting ready to come on here for Sporting. That'll come after this corner. It's a good area. Wide of the mark from Gambardella and out for a goal kick, and this is where the changes will happen. Get our first look of the evening for Taylor Gutsegan. Will come on for Skylar George, and then we'll have our first appearances of the evening for MK Sullivan, Emily Senator, and Grace Simpson as they replace Julia Sally, Taya Gambardella, and Brenna Brown. Senator making her season debut, had an absolutely fantastic campaign for the squad last season, did Senator, and a player that kept that form going into the fall last year. Emily was the Southland Conference Player of the Year and midfielder of the season. After scoring 12 goals and had 1 assist in 21 matches, that point total was top 30 in the country last year. And then garnered that to move to Oklahoma State, where she starred in the national semifinal and final last year in the WPSL. That's a great tackle from Peterson. Trying to play direct. That ball looking for Boutin. But Daly off of her line. A lot of big things are being told about of Danny, who will play at Salve Regina in the fall. Scored over 20 goals for 4 in last fall. And Stephen Bell, who is the head coach at Foreign, going of familiarity, but good experience for a lot of these younger players. And what this Inter team will have is this is into a channel for Grace Simpson, who will chase it down. Simpson going short with Senator. Still Simpson with a flag up for offside. Well, this will provide for this Inter team this season for a lot of young players. There's a lot of high school seniors on this roster getting experience in the adult game that they're only going to use to their benefit going forward into college. At a high level of quality of practice a few times a week, then matches on the weekend or the occasional midweek. That's a handball on Senator, and it'll be a free kick to come here for the host. And speaking with many members within the organization heading into the season, they knew that this was a very challenging division to come into. You obviously have the Sporting Club who won it all last year. You also have teams like Rhode Island Rogues who are there and thereabout. Merrimack Valley Hawks who actually beat Sporting last year in the regular season. Those are your top three in the conference, and the projections. There are no official ones. Is this going to be corner to come here for Inter? A chance now for them to get the targets forward. And then we saw what Vail brought to the table. That's a really good team, a team that won the second division of this region. They call it the Metropolitan Conference by going 7-0-1 last season. So if you can break through the top four in this 8-team division this in your first season, you've done a really good job. Just coming on to the half-hour mark, a chance here for the host. And that cross a little bit too far for Peterson to take, and now Sullivan a chance to carry out. MK a standout at Indiana. Really will do a job pretty much everywhere on the field for the Hoosiers. Of course, more recently, Indiana more synonymous with the American football side of things, winning the national championship in the fall. As a change will come here for Inter Connecticut. It will be Shelby Green who will come in. But Indiana's always been there or thereabout in the Big Ten. As Sullivan now trying to get forward. But Green in her first action does well to recover. Player who wrapped up her senior season at Southern last fall. As Jenna Peduzzi gets fouled. A free kick to come here for the hosts. And half hour gone. Aubrey Kolpa, the goal scorer for Sporting Connecticut in the 19th minute. A little 1-2 with Brenna Brown out wide, and Kolpa passing it past Christina Dynison into the far corner. But Inter have shown some good things here. Again, difficult assignment, their first two games going against a team that's trying to break into that top three in this division, and then going up against the national champions in Sporting just a couple of days after playing Vail. Ball cut out by Gutsegan, a throw to come. Gutsegan, a post-university player with 33 matches under her belt through 3 seasons. Now Weimer over the top. This will stay on here for Grace Simpson. A Norwalk native, not able to keep that on. One of a couple of players featuring on this field from the University of New Haven. Simpson with 16 appearances and a goal in her first season at the Division I level after being an NE10 All-Rookie Team selection in 2024. Just not able to keep that on over on the opposite side of the field. That's a good cutout and a chance here for Begeni to pick apart a pass, or Begeni, excuse me. Begeni, that's good strength to go back home. Sophia, the new Hyde Park, New York native, just completing her sophomore campaign with Iona. 2 goals and an assist. Someone who will do a job at that holding midfield spot. Is here is Smith onto that left foot. Shot blocked down. That was Peterson who stepped into it. But Inter having a little bit of a challenge here over these last few minutes, trying to break out of their own end. have made fairly wholesale changes over the course of this first half. That's a big collision on the edge of the area. This is going to be a foul on Sporting, though. Both going for the ball there, but the referee right on top of it. And slow to get up there. We'll take a look at this now after the collision. Now here's the goal from the 19th minute as Kolpa, a little 1-2. Pretty finish, passing it into the corner. Kolpa a season ago only played about 2/3 of the regular season last year, but in those games scored 7. Pretty much good for a goal a contest. Carlos will bat that forward towards the aforementioned Kolpa, and that's a great tackle from Shelby Green. Otherwise, Carlos is in down this near channel. Sullivan now. That's going to work out. Simpson. Still Simpson going, but there's Dynaston right to the rescue. Well, it looked like Grace Simpson was trying to get her feet sorted out. The ball would not hold up for her. Again, Christina Dynaston, who's made 3 really good saves here this evening thus far and has commanded her area. Bit of the difference maker to keep it just at the 1-goal game at the moment. Schaefer does well to cut that out. Has Peduzzi on this near channel, and that's going to be a foul, and it's going to be the game's first yellow card. The referee has issued a yellow card in the 35th minute to Sporting Connecticut's Lainey Smith. Yeah, that one, as you can see, clear cut right in front of the referee, and had no choice to go to the pocket as Connecticut will make changes. Peterson off. So I believe 6 is Kayla Geyer. I was told she was 16, but that would probably make more sense. And Megan Sirowich back into the match. That's good skill from Smith. There's Schaefer to take it back. Little 1-2 is going to work out for Danny Buta. Out wide here for Sirowich, but just not enough. Couldn't hold on. That's a ball out wide, and this will stay on here. A couple of runners coming forward to help Simpson out. Still Simpson, but that's good tracking back. I thought that was Peterson who actually came off the field, but it was now. We'll get that to the second here. Sullivan has stayed on, cuts it back across, but no one was there. That's a good moment there for the visitors. That ball just toe punted into safety. Inside of 10 minutes to go here in this first half. That is a well-weighted ball out wide to Carlos. Never done so well as Dynaston to slow up Simpson. Still on, though, and it's eventually cleared away by Kiri George. Again, if you take your foot off the gas for just one moment, the visitors will make you pay for it. Not a half-bad ball into the channel. Just a really heavy touch from Grace Simpson, who's had her moments of opportunity in this first half. Now here's Aubrey Kolpa. Carlos has a few inside the area, but under hits that cross. That's a late one there from Senator, and a free kick to come for Inter. Foul suffered by Constante. And again, will allow Peterson to knock it forward. Okay, so now I see a 16 on the bench. So thinking that was Geyer, but this then leads me to believe Maxine Sampson is wearing number 6. Again, we'll get confirmation of that at halftime. That is for Inter-Connecticut from the recent sub. Weimer out wide. Strong tackle and cleared away from Kiri George, who's been very solid in this first half. Kiri, former experience at USL W League with AC Connecticut in her past. And Dionizio to come forward. Looks like Skylar George and Darren Dixon about ready to re-enter the fray as well. But another offside flag comes up. Boy, that's got to be at least 7 here in this first half for the visitors. Again, you knew it was going to be a tricky assignment for them. Obviously, as I mentioned, we worked their match last week over at their CCR complex in Middletown. Much more expansive field to work with. The changes will come for the hosts. I mentioned Dixon and Skylar George on. Lily Simpson off. We'll get the other off in just a second is Schaefer trying to do enough to win it back. This played through Weimer. Oh, it's a beautiful ball out wide to Kolpa, but Dynison has it and then just recovers at the last moment. Oh, that's a dangerous one there. But it works out well is Maxine Sampson. Again, that's who we believe to be wearing the number 6 jersey. Yeah, it does look like her, so we'll just go with that. Again, if we get that wrong, that's our fault. We were given a roster before the game with jerseys and then given some late changes right before the start of the match. Coming up on 5 minutes or so left to go here in this first. Again, the lone goal from Aubrey Kolpa in the 19th minute. That is the difference. I haven't seen too many changes coming from the visitors thus far. Just only the trio that we had around the halfway mark of this first half. Also surprised that we didn't have any hydration break with the high temperatures, but I guess good enough for the players for them to get on with it as Weimer tries to go around the corner again looking for Kolpa cleared away. Only as far as Stone, who lost her balance, and this is going to be a free kick here for Sporting. Despite Stone losing her balance, it's clattered into by Schaefer, and it'll be a free kick in a really good area for the visitors. Now, in that match for Sporting last week, very windy contest. But one of those from a number of distances where you could try your luck. It was into the teeth of the wind the first half. Tiffany Weimer struck one from just outside the area, and it absolutely swerved and created a lot of havoc for the Vale goalie. Ball started going one way and then just swerved well to the keeper's left. This one going to be taken a little bit further than that, 30 yards away from goal. But with Weimer's capabilities, it would not surprise me to see her have one from this area. And she will strike. And again, goes with that technique, but right at the goalie. That's 4 quality saves here in the first half from Dynison in goal. Again, you could see the fatigue a little bit from the Inter players. Not really many making that run going forward. And remember now in soccer, you only have the 8 seconds once you catch the ball before releasing it. So you have to make the decision quickly. If no one's going to make the run, then you either drop it and then kick it quickly off the ground or just hope that someone could get the seconds. That's a big switch out wide. It might actually work out here. Missed kick, ball played into the area, spilled, and eventually cleared away, but Stone heads it right back into the mixer. Sullivan was around the area, and this is going to be put behind for a corner. I'd say a series of unfortunate events there for Inter Connecticut. But now a chance here for the big targets to remain forward as Laney Smith will play it into a good area and cleared away at the last moment. Still on here as it's intended for Sampson. Now Skylar George clears it. Sampson, that's really well done, and now Inter can break, but Senator once again gets back. There's a couple of Inter players sprinting forward, one being Sirwich, the other Bajeni. Someone had to turn to receive. And another good tackle, this time by Boyle. Goes right through the Inter Connecticut attacker and wins it back for her team. Sullivan, great area for Weimer. Lovely first touch as the flag stays down. Equally well defended by Kiri George to clear it away. Oh, Tiff Weimer was in. A little unlucky for her that ball again just wouldn't settle. And Dionizio putting well too much behind it. It's out for a goal kick. And there is, actually, the referee is going to bring halt to a play here because Dynison has gone down. At least maybe just a little bit of cramp. What I was about to say is that we probably wouldn't have too much stoppage time here. We enter the final minute. But maybe with that plus the goal and the amount of subs, probably just looking at the 1 minute. Schaefer. Carlos now off the misplay. Dionizio. Still everybody forward here for Sporting. Get one into the area, you never know what's going to happen, but this goes all the way through. And you can see how much the ball moves on this artificial surface. That one just kept staying up and up. But Dynison doing enough there just to control, and we'll let a few more seconds come off the clock. Now pretty much just all eyes on the fourth referee to tell us how much time we have. As official time pretty much being kept on the field. Smith into a channel. And that is going to do it. There was no stoppage time, or maybe just a few seconds of it. Halftime here in Milford, Connecticut. The one goal in it from Aubrey Culpa has given Sporting Connecticut the lead against their in-state rival, Inter Connecticut FC. What we will do is we will step aside for halftime, be back in about 15 minutes for the start of the second half. You're watching WPSL Soccer on the Inter Connecticut FC YouTube page and WPSL TV. Welcome back here to Milford, Connecticut, just a few moments away from the start of the second half here between Inter Connecticut and Sporting Connecticut. JJ Duke with you as we are underway here to begin the second half. A goal scorer in the 19th minute from Aubrey Kolpa. And with this ball going out of play, let's take a look now at the highlights from this first 45 minutes. It wasn't quite one-way traffic for the visitors, but certainly they generated a handful of scoring opportunities that Christina Dynaston really needed to come up with a couple of key saves. Here's the first early one from Tiffany Weimer in the 9th minute, a ball that was pinged over the top, that Dynaston making the first of her 4 saves in the evening. Eventually, Sporting were able to break through from Aubrey Kolpa, who scored 7 in the league last season, scoring her first of this, her second campaign in WPSL play, and it certainly could have been more for Sporting, but then Dynaston came up with a couple of key stops. This was the last of the 4 that she made in the first half. A breakthrough for Kolpa, and even with the slip from Dynaston, a strong right hand to parry it over the bar, and keeping the game at that 1-0 scoreline. Similar to how the first game for Inter Connecticut went, there was a little bit of build into the game. The hosts started to get their feet under them. Obviously, with the very narrow playing surface, as I say that ball is clipped over the top to Kolpa, who has stayed onside. They were building, they were able to get their shape going, but the one thing that Inter did not really wake up to over the course of that first half was those quick free kicks. And when you're already playing a dangerous high line with the offside trap, that's going to be a challenge enough. But when you have the extra part of it being you have a team that is well-drilled, playing together for a long time like Sporting is, or has been, have to be aware that even on fouls that you concede, you have to get back because you might be hurt for it. A change in goal for the visitors. Emma Malone takes over. Sporting Connecticut often enough will share the halves as Caitlin Daly comes out. Here's Julia Sally now for the visitors. Strong tackle away from Ella Peterson, who's the standout in defense alongside Kiri George. Brown, who had the assist on that goal for Kolpa, looking to clip it over the top, and now Peterson will look to play direct. Channel ball, looking for Bajeni out of play as it looks like she is now taking the role going up top. Taylor got Seguin. Now with Skylar George. Bit of a miss kick, but it's going to work out as Mia Schaefer will play it to the opposite side of the field. Weimer trying to go around the corner, but Shelby Green, who came in as a substitute later on the first half, does well to recover. Yeah, but Jenny just continually on her horse trying to make things happen. As Kolpa might get there, she lobs, or at least attempts to lob the keeper, but Christina will just see that go wide of the mark. And so a really tricky assignment for Inter Connecticut in their first 2 matches in league play. Does alleviate a little bit after this, though. I can certainly tell you that when you're facing up against the teams that they had to start the season, really that's the litmus test for them. The likes with Vale last week, and then here tonight against Sporting. As into the channel for Bajeni. Trying to turn on Shea Boyle. And Sophia does ever so well to win her team a throw in front of their bench. Yeah, but if it gets challenging, another one of those teams that I spoke about who are thereabouts for the conference title last year will be Merrimack Valley next Saturday, the 30th, the next home game. But the good news is for Inter is that they will have a week and a half before their next game, so they'll have a chance to kind of sort things out. Then the schedule, I should say, kind of opens up for them a little bit. Albany Rush at home, that was a organization last year that finished towards the bottom of the conference. And then a handful of new teams to finish out. You have Connecticut Rush twice, another newcomer to WPSL, and then Vermont Wild making the trip up to Vermont. It's a challenging schedule, no doubt about it. There are really no off nights in this division. Which is why even just at the 1-goal deficit right now, feel like if they can create something going forward and test now Malone in goal, who, like Caitlin Daly last week, had to come up with a couple of key saves, though she was the one that conceded a goal to Vale, albeit it was a well-taken finish from the visitors that night. Ball over the top. Kolpa trying to round the defender by hook or crook. Kiri George was able to get enough onto that to at least stop the run of Kolpa. Now a chance here for Bejeni, but just no help with her at the moment. That's difficult, again, for a team that's been doing a lot of defending over the course of this match. You need to have that second outlet. Sporting, by the way, this is a double match week for them as they'll play Rhode Island on the road on Sunday as Senator gets upended in front of us. Free kick now for the visitors. And they know if they want to have that pathway back to retaining their title, they're going to have to put in performances like this where it might not be exactly plan A in terms of the style that they want to play, but grinding out 3 points and getting a result on the road, that'll feel good. Doesn't matter how you get it. And this is what I was talking about. If the team in Inter who earlier on this match were not getting back to defend those quick restarts, try to do enough to slow things down. Got Seguin has to be paced back the 10 yards. But Sporting have 5 going forward. Flick on, ends up being a half-decent one. Sally able to guide that back to Stone. Darian Dixon trying to clear, but doesn't get a lot of purchase on it. Well, there's Peterson just to lump it forward, but again, no one was there, albeit a very heavy touch from Boyle. But Jenny just not able to find anybody, and now the visitors can break. Too much, though, on that ball from Kolpa. It already looks like Inter are preparing a couple of changes. 2 players that started the match for the host in Elise Smith and Sarah Campbell. All right, I've got to be honest. We had some pizza that were delivered up to us halftime, but literally maybe about a minute before we went on. It's smelling really good right now, and yours truly has not had dinner or hasn't really eaten anything since about 11 this morning, so that's going to be a problem. As Matt Bodie, my camera operator and producer tonight, looks at me saying, I'm equally as hungry, as now Kolpa squares this across, and it's cut out at the last moment by George. Well, that combination of Kiri George and Ella Peterson have done really well tonight. Again, dealt with this assignment here of a lot of balls knocked over the top, but they have recovered when they haven't gotten the first. But when they've won those aerial duels, they have been outstanding. It's been a lot of this here for Inter since about the 15th minute or so. Oh, it's a beautiful one, too, between Kolpa and Senator. Aubrey looking for 2, and Dynison with another save, and it's cleared away by Peterson. Oh, Christina with another key intervention there, but another wave of attack for the visitors. Knocked out. And Senator instinctual with that little 1-2. And Kolpa, I mean, we don't have XG at this level, but I have to figure for her over the course of the season, it's got to be above 3. And she has had a ton of one-on-one chances in the first match plus. As Darren Dixon comes off. As mentioned, changes Elise Smith and Sarah Campbell checking in. Yeah, it's Taylor got Seguin, who will also be the one that comes off. Offside on Sporting. This has been the frustration part for them in the first 50-plus minutes. Just not having the ability to time up this high line correctly. They have had success. It can't be said that it's been nothing throughout, but far too infrequent for them breaking through this high line of 4 for Inter-Connecticut. That ball kept on. It was not. That's a good tackle away, but Jenny asking for in space. Shot on goal that Malone has to take. Believe that was the number 19, and that would be Liz Constante on the opposite side of the field. Be a throw for the hosts across the way. And again, that's what you get with this one-goal score line. If you can kind of hang around for a little bit, absorb these chances, almost get through the first 15 minutes of the half, and then you could start reshuffling your own deck a little bit. Again, it helps with that roll-on, roll-off sub. You can reset some things, and all of a sudden, little chaos in the back, or say just a miscommunication moment. And if you can pounce, you're very much in this game, and that is what Inter-Connecticut are looking for here. And a ball into the channel, looking for Sarah Campbell to chase after. And Campbell actually got a piece to it, but just not enough. As Giovanna Dionizio, the former Yale, then UConn player, sees it off. And Giovanna had a header goal off of a free kick from Weimer last week in the victory against Vail. Big switch, it's going to work as Weimer going to go around the corner looking for Kolpa. And again, defended well enough, but it's a giveaway for Senator. But that pass looking for Brown maybe could have taken one more touch. Or for Emily, who is a goal scorer out of the midfield, have it on her own. Kayla Geyer is getting ready to make an appearance for Inter. Don't believe we saw her in the first half. If we did, it was for a very limited amount of time. Again, we have not really seen much from the Sporting bench over this contest. They did make a trio of changes in the first half, with Senator being the one that stays on the field, but M.K. Sullivan and Grace Simpson coming on. That was in place of Brenna Brown and Julia Sally. Ball into the channel. Boyle will shield. But now Bajeni chases after this. This should stay on here for the host, and it does. Constante as well to earn a throw. And again, this is where if you have a long throw, do you have one to launch into the box? There will be a change that comes before that. Again, as you could hear down below, I'm not going to, I was about to say, not going to allow the sub to come on. I'm just waiting for the player to come off the field, and that would be Skylar George. And now Geyer on. As you can hear down below, the drum line has been continually going on all throughout the night. Love a drum at the soccer. Bringing some energy. And it's been a good crowd here in this inaugural home game for Inter-Connecticut in the WPSL. There's an ambitious knock forward from Schaefer, taken by Malone. And the beauty of the pre-professional setup in WPSL here in the Nutmeg State, you've got 4 teams, all relatively close to each other. A Connecticut Rush team will be playing out of Albertus Magnus in New Haven, here with Inter out of Milford, and then the 2 teams in Middletown. Pending traffic, it's really the longest trip would be about 30 minutes. It's nice when you can have any 2 of the 4 teams in the state scoring off against each other. And I guarantee you'll know that there'll be a good turnout. We worked again the Sporting Connecticut versus Vail match last midweek, and had to be at least 400 jammed across the field at CCR. And here tonight, well north of that, probably more towards the 600 to 650 mark. An appreciation to what Inter-Connecticut did in the build-up to this, canceling all the youth practices for this evening and saying, hey, if you're available to come out, please come out and support our club. And speaking to a number of the staff members here, that's the mentality and the way forward. This has been something that's been in the process for a number of years now, completing the pyramid within this club setup of having that pre-professional setup. Also the expectation that there will be a boys team coming soon, as Colpa does well to turn away from traffic, which means he can have a pathway basically from age 5 all the way through age 23 or even beyond. And play with one club, and that's the style that you have overseas. Still kind of growing at that level here in the States, but not too far away from having a generation where you can, for a lack of a better term, be born into a club and play through the entire of your career. Senator going back now with Boyle. Not a bad area for Colpa to chase after, and eventually she serpentines but couldn't keep it on. Shea probably couldn't place it better, but unfortunately for Aubrey, just not able to find it. Now it looks like Jenna Peduzzi is getting some more instructions. Gambardella losing out on the tussle. Will be a throw for Inter Connecticut. I also have to say this as well, with the tighter field and also the warm conditions. Again, it was approaching 90 here in Milford earlier today. Players are giving it a good go. Is this ball, I'll tell you what. Brown looked to have been onside. I think Weimer was the one that was in an offside position. We'll take a look at this here. Bottom left of your picture. Oh, my. That is a good 6 yards onside. I know Weimer was the one that might have been a little bit ahead, but unfortunate. Again, we get the luxury of replays up here, but that should have kept playing on. Fortunate in this case, it doesn't turn into anything for Inter. Obviously, for the home team, they want something from it, but that was a difficult one to see. Anyways, Brown goes back now at Stone. Another channel ball for Colpa to chase after it. Green trying to defend, but it'll be out for a throw. And here comes the change for the host as Jenna Peduzzi back onto the field. Maybe trying to give Sophia Bajeni just a little bit more help going forward. She has been on an island at times. Again, still with about half of this second half to go here. All you need is just that one chance, the one moment. Even you could see it's Constante, the one that comes off the field with the heat, albeit the sun behind the clouds now and starting to set. It is still warm out there. Better. But just think about it. A week ago, we were up in Middletown for that match between Vail and Sporting, and it felt more like March than it did May. And I think that's being generous. It was windy. Sinuses were running that night. Colpa nearly got all the way through, intended for Senator. Stone trying to help this on. Well left, has to be said from that George. Yeah, it was. Yeah, well left. Played that off perfectly. Dynaston short. And you can see Bajeni now has dropped in just a little bit deeper, and that's the sign of a forward that has just not been provided service over the course of this match, trying to get a touch. As now Lainey Smith will come on in replace of Aubrey Colpa. And she is the difference in this match thus far. Colpa in the 19th minute. But she's had to do a lot of running in the channels. Great tackle, by the way, from Stone, former University of Hartford product. Someone that will just be a maestro with passing, but probably doesn't get enough credit for her defensive abilities. Carlos looking for that big switch. Bit of miscommunication as Campbell took that away from a teammate, but Elise Smith does well to recover. And that's a quick throw taken in. Cleared away by Smith. Weimer. It's a decent area, and it got all the way through to Gambardella. Not sure that Taya knew much about it. But now a chance here for the host to break. But there's Stone once again. Spoke about how good she is defensively and making me sound really smart because she was able to track back and stop a potential counter. And what's a different standard is not committing a foul, stepping in and making a play. Campbell not able to make that. Looked like Smith might have just rushed that a little bit out to this near side. Oh, it's a lovely turn from Tiffany Weimer. Might have gotten away with a foul there. No, now the referee's going to blow. It's Kiri George remonstrating to the official, saying that she was tugged to the ground. Megan Sirowicz will come back on. Sirowicz going to go up front. So a attacking-minded substitution for the host. Lily Simpson departs. And you're in that space right now, or you're beyond, or actually, excuse me, just around the halfway mark of the second half. One of those where you've held out long enough against the defending WPSL champions. Do you give it a go at this point? You say, why not? Take a chance because you might have it pay off. Of course, it would leave Inter-Connecticut suspect for the counter, but trying to create at least a seed of doubt into the opponent's mind as Carlos does well to help it forward, but in fact just a little bit too strong for Gambardella. That's good from the clearance. Get up the field a little bit. I know, obviously, the way the game is played now, you build from the back, but try to allow your team to get up. See if you can win a flick on. Madison has outstanding distance with her clears. A foul on Campbell, who I think just only realizing now that she's got to go the other way, it was on her. Sarah, the Abington, Massachusetts native, played a couple seasons at Framingham State, but also runs track and field there as well. Wrapping up her senior season. Brown, and easy for the goalkeeper. You can see what Dynason's trying to do. She's trying to hit it in areas, just doesn't have willing runners at the moment. Now Lainey Smith, 1-on-2, defended well, first from Elise Smith, then from Kiri George. Now the host can break. It's a well-timed ball, a chance here for Sirowicz, but look at the recovery from Kylie Carlos. That's why she was the most outstanding defender in the national championship last year. It's for recovery runs like that. Otherwise, Sirowicz is most certainly through. And likely you're thinking Inter-Connecticut have a chance to level it. Stone. Weimer. But again, George right there. Oh, that's a giveaway, though. Kiri George at least does enough to stop Weimer on a straight line run. A little bit of a miscue in the back, and now changes coming for both teams as Danny Buta will come back into the match for Inter. It did look like Sporting wanted to make a sub. Julia Sally was the one who came over, but instead it's going to be Tea Gambardella. And Michaela Isakani will make her debut for the team, the Lewis Mills, Connecticut native, formerly from DeSales at the Division III level. 63 matches played with that school. Weimer, deep off the corner. Sally trying to head that on, as that was actually helped back into the box by Inter-Connecticut defender. A goal kick. 20 minutes left to go here. Again, this is all for the taking in terms of if Inter want to come back and get something from this match. Sporting have continued to press over the course of the second half, but they just not have really done enough to force Dynaston into too many saves. Obviously, has been super active inside her own penalty area, but not enough to ask the question, really, from both teams. And the conditions play the part, the field also as well. Smith, good tackle from Schaefer. Banner not out of danger just yet. Smith, good recovery from Geyer. Carlos. Weimer, turn on to the right foot. Weimer gets it off, held by Dynaston. She has been outstanding tonight. And Tiff Weimer, an opportunity to cut in onto that right foot. But again, that's the experience at the international professional level. Not only catching it and saving it, but holding it. No rebounds. Maxine Sampson, who we did get confirmation at halftime that she is wearing the number 6 jersey. Getting ready to check back in here for the hosts. Now, ball over the top. Weimer's gotten through. But again, that did not look like offside for us. It's a few times now that a few different Sporting players have looked over to the assistant across the way. There's a questionable one from Brenna Brown earlier that looked to have been 4 or 5 yards onside. And again, we get the benefit of second looks at it. As now Inter will make the change. Maxine Sampson, who will be transferring to University of New Haven in the fall. Previously, if Franklin Pierce will come on. And she'll come in for Shelby Green, who was solid outside back position. Solid at the outside back position over her roughly about 40 minutes or so coming off the bench. But Jenny now a chance to pick apart a pass, and it's a good one to Sirwich. Trying to lick up, but there's Dionizio. And she brings a caliber of playing for the Dominican Republic. Knows how to track back and win a tackle. Also featuring, as I said, with Yale for a number of seasons to Giovanna. Brown once again trying to flick it around to Lee Smith. That should be a throw for the visitors. Weimer. Little 1-2 at Stone. Weimer once again goes down. Referee waves that away. Now Sirwich. Carlos, that's a foul, and she's not happy about it. Take a look at this here from Sporting. It looked from real time that there was a little bit of contact there. It's more the question, was Weimer going down while contact was being made? Not for me. But you didn't really see too much remonstrating from Weimer towards the official. I actually just saw Tiffany, though, having a word with one of the assistants from Inter Connecticut. Not quite sure what that was about. Lily Simpson getting ready to come back onto the field. And if there's a player that could provide a difference, or at least someone to play off of up front, Lily out of Norwalk, Connecticut at 5'11". Someone they could potentially just ping one up to and see if he could have the likes of Bajeni or others just play off. Weimer stayed on side. This is Stone into the area. But again, well defended from George. Curie doing enough just to see it away. She alongside Ella Peterson have been absolutely fantastic for Inter-Connecticut tonight. They've not wavered from their tackles, so that's a bit of a late one there. And in fact, this is going to be a yellow card as well. And that's going to be on Danny Butov for a bit of a late one from behind. The referee has issued a yellow card in the 76th minute to Inter-Connecticut's number 10, Danny Butov. Yeah, you see it there. Certainly we've seen harder fouls over the course of the match, but the referee was right on top of it as now Simpson and Skylar George come back on. Kayla Geyer off, as is Bajeni. Tricky night for Sophia. Just has not really had the service going her way and can't do much as that lone forward if you don't have someone to play off of or play through or just getting the ball to you. Putting a lot of hard miles. That has to be said as well. This is not far away, though, from where Sporting got one of their goals last week, as Weimer will clip this into space, and it's Carlos with the header, but just couldn't direct it on frame. In fact, actually takes out one of her own teammates in the process. As Tiffany Weimer, this is outstanding service. And it looked like Carlos maybe, in fact, overran it slightly. That's unfortunate for her because service like that, you need to be testing the keeper. Look at Shea Boyle stepping through. She's got options, but Boyle will go for goal, but the shot was blocked down from Peterson. Eventually just cleared away. You hear the screams down the low from Butsa, who's asking for the big switch. Might actually get it here, but Peduzzi just rushed it. As we get later and later into this match, chances, or at least opportunities to create chances, will become fewer. Have to take advantage of them. But again, the hosts have done well here this evening to hang around. Weimer will take the clearance. Lovely little 1-2 as Senator, but Weimer goes for the Meg. Across to Brown. Brenna gets a shot off, and it's held by Donison. Unofficially now up to 7 saves, at least 7 quality saves on the evening. A good step from Simpson. Again, Dynison's getting the clearance and the distance behind. Just need those willing runners. Into the channel now, and a chance here. Chris Akani. And Inter not out of danger until now, as that one's splitting the uprights, but that is very much the wrong sport. Out for a goal kick instead. Yeah, now you can start to hear some of the instructions coming from the Inter-Connecticut bench, asking just for more willing runners. Into the 80th minute. Again, the lone goal from Aubrey Kolpa all the way back in the 19th. A little 1-2 with Brenna Brown, and that's the difference. That's a good area from Curie George. Couple of runners after it, but that's outstanding from Dionizio. And Skylar George, 50-50 ball, came away with, but reset from the visitors. And immediately just lumped back forward. Good first touch from Brown. Weimer trying to cut it back to Senator in the middle. should be a Sporting throw, and it is. Yeah, Simpson just over the ball a little bit too long. And it looks like now Inter going to bring back their two starting forwards onto the field. Excuse me, one of the starters, that being Bajeni, and the other is Constante. You know, under 10 minutes to go. Stephen Bell's going to go for it here. There's a player that's down for Inter, and that's Kiri George. Getting looked after by her center back pairing and Ella Peterson, and a chance for both teams to get some fluids on. In fact, if nothing else, it almost serves as a perfect timeout here for both of these teams, restructuring a little bit. Tiffany Weimer also, in addition to her playing duties, a coach as well, and you wonder how much that the visitors are going to try and go for a second. Obviously, they would be going, but in terms of just the personnel that they're going to be sending up and going forward, knowing that Inter have not really provided enough of a threat. As Aubrey Kolpa comes back into the match, Senator, Misakani, now it's Stone. Pass cut out. But again, no one to aim for as Weimer will just serve it into the box. Header not dealt with. Lainey Smith just showing it a little bit. Really unlucky is Constante trying to find an outlet. Still Lainey Smith going on, trying to create it for herself. Now it's Weimer. What a save by Dynaston. Flying across the air here in Milford, Connecticut, and taking away what could have been the second goal for the visitors. And again, it's all due to what Lainey Smith set up. They say that's one for the cameras, but Dynaston had to get over in time to peel that one off. Well, that's a bit of a rugby tackle on the opposite side of the field. Now we could throw in a third sport on this, American football, then football, and now rugby. Kolpa able to get in line, squares it across, and Smith couldn't dig it out. So again, unofficially, I've got it for Christina up to 8 quality saves. That doesn't include any sort of collecting crosses, coming out of her box to make stops. It looks like more changes being prepared here for Inter. Darren Dixon getting ready to re-enter the match. Again, rolling subs, so you can make changes as liberally as you want. On the opposite side for Sporting, there's actually a couple of players that we haven't seen this evening that are on the bench. Greta Brunello, Abby Johnson, Jules Uris, and Kelly Quigley. As Matt Cameron and staff just keeping with the team that it is. Senator going to keep it on frame. But again, you could see Sporting are not sitting around here. They're looking for a second. Meanwhile, with Dixon coming onto the field, should point our camera operator just above the tree line here as we've got a lovely little soccer sky here on this Tuesday evening. That is the one nice thing that we get when it's the sun setting as late as it is. Pink sky or red sky at night, that should be a sailor's delight, which means that the weather that we're going to get tomorrow to break this mini heat wave shouldn't be too bad enough to spoil the plans. Sally, now with Carlos. Big switch that Kolpa will get to. This is a great area for the lone goal scorer of the night. Kolpa off the post. I think Dynaston got a piece of that one. But Kolpa trying to go near side. Almost snuck it by the veteran. putting it through the defender's legs, and nope, that beat her cleanly. Not a touch in that. Might have taken a slight deflection off the defender. Kolpa, again, who scored 7 across 8 last year, nearly got her second of the night. Dionisio not able to keep it on, out for a goal kick. Final 5 minutes to go here of this second half. Might have a little bit of stoppage time, and yeah, more instructions coming from the home bench saying let's go for it. More bodies forward here. One would have to figure again with the deck that they've been dealt to start the season, Connecticut. 2 of the toughest teams in the Northeastern Conference to begin the season, hanging around enough, and had the 2-1 narrow loss against Vail last weekend. Turnaround short. Now here to this Tuesday. 1-goal game with a few minutes to go. Can he try and steal something? That'll be a throw for Buta in front of us. And you see Sirwich saying slow down just to try and get more bodies forward. But even then, there's only really 4 that's committed into the area. And that header from Megan, albeit in the direction of the goal. No one there, and Malone will take it. And the huge diagonal. That one intended for Weimer. Dionisio there. Simpson, who's been deputized at right back, despite listed as a forward. This is over the top. Flag should stay down, and it does. Weimer to try and wrap it up here for Sporting. Instead lays it off. Good deflection from Peterson. This will be a corner, however, and the visitors will be in no rush to take it. Connecticut have defended mightily in this match. As Weimer sends it in, Dynison gets tangled up with her own teammate. Clearance will be deflected out. It's another corner. One referee actually had signaled as offside. That could have been the case because Weimer let that ball go. You got to get the ball person to get the ball over. There we go. As Weimer is not going to be in any rush to take this. Nor is Sporting willing to sit on it. They're looking for the second to put it away. As we hit the 89th minute, back post goes all the way through. Azakani not able to keep it on. Man, Connecticut, they've got to go. Down to about 100 or so seconds of normal time. And can't imagine there's going to be more than 1 or 2 minutes of stoppage time. We didn't have any in the first half, even with the goal, number of substitutions. That ball tried to be switched in the way of Bajeni. It's cut out by Julia Sally. Again, Dynison will just allow that to travel and just asking everybody to get forward here. Well, look at Stone, again, continuing to put in a shift here for Sporting Connecticut. '90th minute now. It's now or never here for the hosts as Schaefer plays us into an area, but again, the narrow field, albeit that would have had too much anyways to be kept on. No one able to chase it down. There's going to be 4 minutes of stoppage time in the second half, which is, again, kind of crazy to think, where we had nothing in the first half. Did have a couple of players go down due to injury and then the enormity of subs, but certainly there is time here for the hosts to try and get something from it. Boyle does ever so well to recover. And Dynison will just see this one back. And again, there's going to be life here. The referee has indicated there will be a minimum of 4 minutes of second half stoppage time. And I'm looking over down to the Sporting Connecticut bench. They are not happy with the amount of time that was added on. Candidly, I'm a little bit surprised as well, but now it's going to be a free kick here as Dynason's going to ask for everybody forward. Most certainly, last chance saloon here for the host. Ball played in, cleared away by Carlos. Boutin needs any sort of help. That's just wise from Isaacani just to see it out. Weimer. Ball played through, and the flag has stayed down here for Sally, and she scores. In the second minute of second half stoppage time, it's Julia Sally who puts it away, and all 3 points sewn up for the visitors. And you can see it here, just a well-weighted through ball from Weimer. Well-timed run as well, and Sally gets her first of the season. And after Inter-Connecticut defended as well as they did, eventually their defense was breached in the second half. Sporting Connecticut goal in the second minute of second half stoppage time by number 2, Julia Sally. That's a bit of a late one there from Boutin. You see a little bit of frustration being shown as well. Again, with all the pomp and the circumstance here for this being the home opener for Inter-Connecticut, wanting to come out and show their stuff, but again, a difficult assignment in their first week of league play, going away to Vail, battling, but losing 2-1, and then defending well over the course of the 90 minutes, but then eventually they were done in by the great through ball for Julia Sally to get her first of the season. Weimer with another goal contribution, by the way, so that's now 4 across 2 games. Because we are now into the final minute of second half stoppage time. Again, just as a reminder, Inter-Connecticut will be back at home. The next match will be back at home, but that will be on Saturday, May the 30th, when they take on Merrimack Valley Hawks. That'll be set for a 5 p.m. kickoff, and you can watch every game at home of this 2026 season for Inter-Connecticut right here on the Inter-Connecticut FC YouTube page as well as WPSL TV. One more free kick for the hosts. Chance for them just to get everybody forward and see if they can salvage something late on. It will be Peterson who will just ask for everybody to get up. She and Curie George have been outstanding over the course of the 90 minutes here this evening. As the referee is going to walk this one off when a nice one with the American football lines. We know exactly how far 10 yards are. In fact, that is only 9. But we'll just roll with it. This will be the last action of the match. Peterson serves. Not a bad area. Carlos puts it behind. Will the referee allow for the corner? He will. Ball served in short, goes all the way through, pinballed. Boutin recycles. Cross takes a deflection, cleared away. Dixon tried to keep it on, as does Bajeni. Dionizio clears, and that will do it. As Sporting Connecticut continue their run through of this start of the 2026 season as they knock off their in-state rival Inter-Connecticut FC by 2-0. Goals from Aubrey Kolpa in the 19th minute and then Julia Sally in second half stoppage time. Big thanks in part to our friends over at Bluegill Productions for bringing you tonight's coverage here of this WPSL matchup. We will see you on Saturday, May the 30th, when Air Connecticut take on Merrimack Valley Hawks FC. For our entire crew, I'm JJ Duke saying so long. You've watched a presentation of WPSL Soccer.